Welcome to this week's special edition of Parshat Shavua. As always, Parshat Shavua is brought to you in conjunction with the Weiss Entertainment Network, 613 on your dial. This is a unique Shabbos of the year. It's not only Parshas Miketz, but it's also Shabbos Chanukah, and it's Rosh Chodesh. When that happens, it's one of the few times a year that we take out three Sefer Torahs. In the first Sefer Torah, we're going to read from Parshas Miketz. In the second Sefer Torah, we're going to read special Kriyas Torah from Parshas Pinchas, of the Korban Musaf of Rosh Chodesh, followed by the Kriyas Torah of Hanukkah. Let's get into the Parsha. Beginning of the Parsha, Yosef is in jail, and Paro has two dreams. He has a dream, as we see here, the cows. There were fat cows and there were thin cows. They were grazing by the Nile River, and the thin cows ate the fat cows. Then he has a second dream, Sheva Shivalim Dakot, where there were ears of corn that were very thin, and there were the ears of corn that were very thick and beautiful. And again, the thin ate the thick. Now, we discussed in our discussion of Hanukkah that was one of the hints to Hanukkah, since Parshas Miketz is always Shabbos Hanukkah. Here we have the thin defeating the big, similar to Hanukkah. Paro Kam Bavoker, Paro wakes up in the morning and is terribly disturbed. And he goes with Kesh Pitaron, and he goes and he asks his people for a Pitaron, V'lo kibel et Pitaron shalom, but he does not accept what they said. Rashi quotes the Midrash that they told him that he's going to have, because he dreamt of 7 cows, he's going to have 7 daughters that are going to be born, and 7 daughters are going to die. He did not accept their explanation. Rashi brings the Midrash because he also dreamt the interpretation of the dream, but he couldn't. That was the part that he could not remember. At that point, when the Sar HaMashkim, Paro's winemaker, sees what was going on, he remembers Yosef. He calls him a Nar Ivri Eved. So Rashi says that each of those phrases he's tried to put him down and show that he doesn't speak our language, Ivri and Eved can't be the king. So despite the fact that all that the Sar HaMashkim did for Yosef, did for the Sar HaMashkim, the Sar HaMashkim does everything to put him down. Anyway, finally, Paro calls for Yosef. Pasuk says that Yosef cleaned himself, took a shower, because out of respect for the king, one cannot come to the king unless they're properly dressed and properly groomed, because Paro was the king, and he comes to Paro. We see here, he's talking to Paro. Paro is describing his dreams. The first comment that the Paro says to him is that I heard that you interpret dreams. And Yosef, without batting an eyelash, says, no, Hashem interprets dreams. In fact, he uses the term Elokim. Elokim, we know, represents Midas Adin. Hashem is in judgment. That means Yosef said, Hashem has judged that I should be here and I should be able to interpret your dreams. Yosef goes on, as we see in the on the line here, Sheva Parim v'Shibolim Tavot, Sheva Shanim Tavot, Sheva Parot Dakot v'Shibolim Dakot, Sheva Shanim Ra'ot. The 2 7s, the good and the bad. 7 good years followed by 7 bad years. Now, Yosef adds that the 7 bad years are going to be so bad that they're going to forget that the 7 good years existed before that. And then Yosef mentions that they should store food, and they should collect food, and they should protect themselves and prepare themselves for the year of the famine. And that's what we see Yosef trying to talk to Paro. Paro is unbelievably impressed with Yosef, and he tells him, Ein Navon, Ein Chacham Navon Kamocha, there's no one as wise as you, there's no one as understanding as you. And he tells him, Atat Yal Besi, you will be in charge of my house. And he gives him a number of gifts. He gives him the chariot that represented it, that Yosef was the number 2 man in Mitzrayim. He put a necklace on that also represented that, and different things that he gave him. And then he also made sure that Yosef got married. Yosef marries a woman named Asnat, and they have 2 children, Menashe and Ephraim. The Torah emphasizes specifically the children were born during the years of good. Because during the years of famine, it would have been a tough time to have children. We see above this that Yosef gathers grain, lamachsanim, to the silos. During the 7 good years, Yosef devised a tremendous system where people store the grains and they are prepared for the famine. and that's what we see here. See here in the picture, Paro is putting the crown on Yosef, demonstrating that he's the second, number 2 man in all of Mitzrayim. We see here in this picture all the different grains, that the word got out that Mitzrayim was the place for grain. And it says, Yaakov Ra, Rashi says that he saw an unclear vision that there was food in Mitzrayim. Rashi points out the reason why it was unclear is because Hashem did not want him to see in Ruach HaKodesh that Yosef was in Mitzrayim. Then the Torah tells us, Yaakov Shalach Asarami Banav. Yaakov sends only 10 of his sons. And V'lo Shalach et Binyamin. And he doesn't send Binyamin. It says Yosef here, but it means Binyamin. And the reason why he doesn't send Binyamin is because he fears that something bad will happen to Binyamin. So when he does that, he keeps them back. Rashi quotes the Medrash that the Satan, the Malach that does bad things, tries to avoid the home. He always creates trouble when they're on the road, when they're traveling, and therefore it says that nothing happened to Yaakov realized that nothing will happen to Yosef at home. Now, Yaakov tells them that they're not allowed to enter the same gate. Yaakov was concerned of Ayin Hara, that they'll see a strong and beautiful family, and people will give them an Ayin Hara. So he tells them they have to go into separate gates. The other reason was because they're looking for Yosef, and they spread out to see where Yosef was. Yosef Hikirotam, Yosef recognizes them, but they don't recognize him. Rashi brings down at this point Yosef had a beard. He did not have a beard when they sold him. He was still a young kid. He's only 17 years old, and they didn't recognize him. Yosef then accuses them of spying and says the only way they can prove their innocence is if they bring Binyamin with them to Mitzrayim. It says that they go back to Yaakov. Yaakov at first refuses to send Binyamin to Mitzrayim. Reuven tries. Reuven says to Yaakov, if I don't bring him back, you can kill my 2 sons. Rashi points out that Yaakov was incensed by that comment, that he said, what does Reuven think, that his children are not like my children, and I would want to do something like that. Finally, when the food starts to run out, Yehuda steps forward and says to Yaakov, listen, he says, we have to go back, and we can't without Binyamin. Yaakov questions, why did they say anything? And Yehuda says, because he asked. And Yehuda says, I will protect him. If I don't bring him back, not only will I lose my right in this world, but he says, I give up my share in Olam Haba. Yaakov is very impressed with that, and he gives Binyamin in charge of Yehuda, tells them take some fruit, take some gifts. So in case the king of Mitzrayim is upset. We also realized that when they came back, they found their money in their bags. So that became an issue of concern. So the brothers come, they're brought to Beis Yosef, and they think that they're being there because they're going to be prosecuted for stealing money. The servant of Yosef says, don't worry about it. Hashem, your God, placed it in your bag. You should not worry about it. Yosef gives them a meal, and it says that he gave more to Binyamin than the others, and while they're packing, he orders that his cup be placed in Binyamin's bag. The brothers go and they travel, and and as they're traveling, Yosef's servant comes and brings them back, and the whole fight between Yehuda and Binyamin between Yehuda and Yosef over Binyamin begins at the end of this week's parsha, as Yehuda comments how there's no way that we are guilty. He says, Elokim matzah et avon avodecha. Hashem has found reason to punish us. Rashi points out, Yehuda was saying Binyamin didn't steal anything. There is a reason why Hashem is trying to punish us, and that's something that we will find out soon. And Yehuda begins his conversation in defense of Binyamin, which will eventually culminate in next week's parsha of Yosef revealing himself. That's it for this week. Have a good Shabbos, a good Chodesh. Freilich Hanukkah, and all good things.